All right, everybody, I've got another housing market update for you for the city of Edmonton. And this is for the month of September using the most recent statistics available from the Realtors Association of Edmonton. So we're looking at the August 2022 statistics and a bunch of infographics here that'll help you understand exactly what's going on in the Edmonton real estate market. So let's jump right into it. There'll be three sections of this video. First, we're going to look at the market as a whole. So total residential, which would include both single family homes, condos, half duplexes, the market as a whole. Then we're going to look at the single family home market, and then we're going to look at the condo market because the situation is a little bit different in each market. So we'll start overall with the whole market and we'll go from there. So jumping right into it, total residential August report. You can download a copy of this report. If you just look for the link in the description below, you can download PDFs of each of these reports for your own reference. Now, going down here, looking at the market status, we're currently right kind of dab in the middle of a buyer's market with an absorption rate of 19.77%. So as of August 2022, we had 6,324 listings at the end of the month, and there were 1,250 sales, and that's how you get that absorption rate of 19.77%. Earlier this year, if we look over on the right, you can see in March we were in a strong seller's market, and it's decelerated since then and continued to kind of drop and change the balance of the market, moving more and more into a buyer's market. It looks like that trend will probably continue going into the fall and especially the winter months. Interest rates have gone up a lot over the last several months, and we're really starting to see that impact on the market where we're having less transactions, but there's also a lot more inventory. So that's completely changed the balance of the market since March and April. Now, going down, the average price in August for the whole market was $371,303, which is down 7% from July 2022. And down 3.3% from August 2021. Now, if you watched my Realtors Association of Edmonton update that I released about a week ago, which was just looking at the stats the association puts out and using their infographics, I did talk quite a bit about average price in that one and how it's not the best indicator. And more than likely, what we're seeing here with the average price drops is influenced by multiple factors, including more sales happening at a lower price point because people have gotten sensitive to the interest rate changes. So they're, instead of buying, let's say, a $400,000 home, now maybe they're buying a $350,000 or a $300,000 home. So that'll start to drop the average price as you have less sales on the higher end and more sales on the lower end. That doesn't actually mean that the values have gone down that much. I just think the market has shifted and people are buying a cheaper house than they would have before. That'll still have an impact on the market and will still drag prices down a little bit as higher priced homes end up having to be a little bit more generous to the buyers if they want to make a deal happen, since there's just not as many people buying at higher price points. But that 7% drop since July in the average price tells us more, in my opinion, about the shifting preferences of buyers based on what's been happening with the interest rate. We'll look at the benchmark price. I did talk about that quite a bit in the last video, so you can check out that video as well. So just looking at the average price, you can see that August was the first real big drop that we've had this year after big gains in February. Then we saw a little bit of a drop in May and June and July, but a 7% drop is the biggest shift we've seen so far. Really felt it in the month of August. Now, if you look at the average price trend, you can see that we're actually still up for 2022. We're up 3.73% for the year. We've been losing a little bit more of that each month as the year goes on. So we'll have to see how the year ends, if we end up in the same spot or close to the same spot we were when the year begun. But that just kind of shows you what's been happening over the course of the year. Now, in terms of active and sold listings, there was 6,324 active listings at the end of the month, and as I mentioned, 1,250 sales. So the number of listings is just up a little bit from July. It's up 1.69% from July and up barely from last August. It's up 0.56% from August 2021. So from a number of active listings perspective, it's still relatively balanced, not seeing a huge shift in the actual inventory levels from last month or last year. So it's very similar inventory levels compared to last year. But the number of sales did drop just over 9% from July 2022 and 12.59% from August 2021. So that is translated into having a little bit of a different balance in the market this August compared to last August, even though we have about the same number of listings, because there's less sales volume. That does put things in buyers' favor a little bit more than what we saw last year. Now, if we look at the balance of the market, this is another way of looking at it. The top number, or the green bar, essentially represents the total number of active listings. And the more green there is, the more it's on the buyer's side of things, because the lower bar, the blue bar, shows how the number of sales. So if you have a lot more listings and less sales, you'll start to have a bigger gap there and have a lot more breathing room in the market. Whereas if you look back in March, we had way less listings. We had 3,391 listings compared to the over 6,000 we have now. And we also had a lot more sales. We had 2,300, just over 2,300 sales then. So that the breathing room was pretty tight back in March. And you can see that over the course of the last 4 or 5 months, that has really shifted as we got more listings and less sales. The average days on market was sitting at 45 days for August, which is a little bit slower compared to July. It's 12.5% slower compared to July, and 4.65% slower compared to August 2021. We're sitting at 45 days in August. We were sitting at 40 days in July, and last August we were sitting at 43 days. So you can see how that's kind of shifted throughout the year. And then in terms of the market distribution, this is basically on what price point the sales are happening, which could be an interesting piece of information to kind of see, okay, where's most of the action. For the market as a whole, 16% of it was below 200,000, just over 15% between 2 and 300,000. The biggest section was between 3 and 400,000 with 23.87%. And then we also had a pretty big segment between 4 and 500,000 with 20.41%. After that, we get just over 11% between 5 and 600,000, just over 6% between 6 and 700,000, and just over 3% between 7 and 800,000. Then we're going down to just over 1.5% between 8 and 900,000, and then we're under 1% for each bracket after that. So that sums it up for the market as a whole, looking at the total residential. Next, we're going to move on to single-family homes. But I just want to remind you, this gives you a good overall view of what's going on in the market. But as a real estate agent here in Edmonton, I'm licensed with YEG Pro Realty. I can help you with a lot more specific advice if you set up a free strategy call with me, or you can text me or call me at 780-819-5508. The website to book a free strategy call can be reached at booktrevornow.com, and then you just select the time on my calendar and then I'll call you. My consultations are totally free. You can fill me in on your situation, what you're planning to do in the real estate market, whether you're in Edmonton or any of the surrounding communities, and then I can give you some more specific advice, not just general advice on what's going on in the market as a whole. I can look at the areas that you're interested in or the area that your home's in, and I can pull a lot more relevant data for you and give you some information that's going to make it a lot easier for you to make some strategic decisions, whether you're buying or selling a home. So definitely recommend reaching out to me. Let's continue on with the report here. Looking at single family homes now, you can see that's also in a buyer's market with a 17.18% listing absorption rate at the end of August. We had 3,836 listings for single family homes, and there were 659 sales. Again, it's the same sort of similar picture here. You can see how the market balance has changed since March. It's a little lower for single family homes than it has been in previous months. We were over 20%, now we're down to 17%. Continuing to see the market shift. The average price for a single family home in August was $480,225, which is still down, not as much as the market as a whole, but it's down 5.75% from July, but up 2.17% from August. So it's still up from last year, but that, again, the most significant drop that we've seen so far this year. And for the year so far, we're still up for single family homes, up 6.44%. So we might hold on to some of those gains before the year closes out. Now, if we look at active and sold listings, there was 3,836 active listings at the end of the month and 659 sales. The active listings are up just a little bit, up 3.76% from July and up 14.27% from August. So we actually have a little bit bigger numbers here for the inventory in single family homes compared to last year. And then for the solds, they're down 12.83% from July and down 20.22% from August 2021. So we're seeing a bigger shift in the single family home market right now than what we've been seeing previously. Now here's the market balance again. You can see that again, we got a lot more listings. We've got more listings right now than we have at any point in the last 13 months, basically. We're probably around peak inventory. You can see that we were up a little bit from July. It depends how many listings we get here in September. But a lot of the new listings come on in the summer, and then they kind of start to dwindle as you get later into the fall months. But there's always surprises. There could be a bunch of people that put their properties on the market. So stay tuned and make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss another video. so you can make sure you see the new updates. So for the average days on market for single family homes, it was sitting at 39 days, which are up. So that's 11.43% slower compared to July and 8.33% slower compared to August 2021, because we were at 35 days on average in July, and now we're at 39. So it is starting to creep up. Homes aren't moving quite as quick. And last August we were at 36. So again, sort of the same story, not quite as robust of a market as what we had last August. Now the market distribution, it's much different for single family homes than it is for the market as a whole. Barely anything under 200,000, 1.35%. There's 7.25% of the transactions between 2 and 300,000. Then we got 23.5% between 3 and 400,000, and then 28%, or 28.3% between 4 and 500,000. That's the biggest section of the single family home market. Then we're just over 18% between 5 and 600,000, just over 10% between 6 and 7. Just over 5% between 7 and 8, and 2.8% between 8 and 9. After that, we're just over 1% for 900,000 to $1 million, and 1.5% between 1 million and 1.5 million. After that, it dwindles even further for the ultra luxury homes. That sums it up for the single family home market. Now we're going to look at condos. Jumping into the condo, that's the last section of the report. Just a reminder, you can download a PDF copy of this report if you look for the link in the description below. The listing absorption rate for condos was sitting at 17.1% because we had 2,462 listings at the end of the month and 421 sales. You can see that the picture for condos is a lot different than it was for single family homes, even though it still follows the same sort of pattern where the absorption rate peaked in March and has been falling since then. You'll probably notice that the percentages are a lot lower for condos than they were for single family homes. And that's because the condo market has been a lot more of a struggle for sellers. It's been a buyer's market for a long period of time for condos. If you saw my previous videos, I mentioned briefly in March and April, we were technically in a balanced market, and I had a few comments where people said condos have never been balanced, and had some interesting back and forth there. Certainly you could see why it would be easy to feel that way, especially if you bought a condo or you feel like you've lost money on your condo. It's going to be a while before this market recovers. Obviously, if more people get pushed into the condo markets, and if they can't afford single family homes anymore because of interest rates or whatever, that could start to affect it. That's probably most true in the townhouse condo market. What's really dragging these down is actually the apartment condo market. There's a lot of them. You have to be super competitive if you're selling a condo, an apartment condo. And if you're a buyer, you usually have quite a bit to choose from. You usually don't have any competition when you're trying to buy an apartment condo in most cases, so you can definitely negotiate on price. Now, the average price for condos in Edmonton was $213,985, which is down 4.56% from last month and down 2.92% from last year. So still a decent drop in average prices there. Even though condos are cheaper, we still see people going for cheaper properties than they would have before. Now it shows condos average prices are up 2.59% for 2022. Probably didn't feel that way if you owned a condo, but technically from an average price perspective, it's up. Now the active and sold listings, there was 2,462 active listings at the end of the month and 421 sales. So the listings are actually down 2.38% from July. So condo sellers rejoice. There's slightly less competition compared to July, and it's down 16.03% from August. So it is still actually the condo market is actually technically doing better than it was last year. The sales are down not as much as single family. They're down 4.1% from July and up 5.25% from August 2021. So even though things don't look fantastic for the condo market, in some ways, the changes that we're seeing on a month-to-month basis right now are not as extreme as what's going on in the single-family home market. Now, the average days on market for a condo is 55 days, which is up 10% slower than July when they were at 50 days, and 8.33% faster compared to August 2021 when it was at 60 days. Now you can see the market distribution for condos is completely different, with 46.6% of the market under 200,000, just over 33% between 2 and 300,000, and just about 15% between 3 and 400,000. After that, you got 3.25% between 4 and 500,000, and less than 1% for each price bracket after that. So that sums it up for the Edmonton real estate market report, looking at the housing market stats. This is the update for September using the August statistics. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss another video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to watch another video like this, you can subscribe with this button over here. And if you look over here, there's a video playlist where you can check up on my other recent videos. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.